Hi everyone. So today I will show you how to build a API using Aggregator Mediator with Iterator Mediator. So previous video we saw how we can build a API using Iterator Mediator. So it will premiere 4th of September. Kindly watch that one. So the limitation of Iterator Mediator I will tell you. Like if I go through Postman. So if you see here, right, if I send request using Iterator Mediator, I am not getting the full response. So how we will achieve to get the full response after hitting the API. So let's start how to do that one. So let me quickly go through Integration Studio. So this was our previous iteration flow. Okay, so I'm creating one API from the scratch, like Iterator Mediator with Aggregator Mediator. Let's see how we can build that one. Quickly right click this one, go through new and create one new REST API XML file. Click next here. So I'm giving here aggregate API, and context I'm giving here aggregate. So now I'm modifying this version type to context here and giving one initial version and finish this one. So this is my default design view. So let's go through our requirement analysis. So this is my previous note. I just added few things only. So in Aggregate Mediator, so usually it will give you one response but not the full response. So why it is breaking, it will do what if you are sending one name here, and if I am adding another name, just example okay, so example if I am adding one name here and the second name if I am adding here, just example Kuna. So if I send request, right, so Aggregate Mediator it will print only one name. It will not print the full as a nested array. So how we will achieve that one? So as per our flow, earlier what we did, I added one JSON eval. This JSON eval it is fetching the full value of the body, and that body I just fetch the name value only. But here the problem is we are using the one array. So inside array, if you are using multiple type of JSON, Iterator Mediator is not fetching the full response. So it is only printing the first name, then it terminate the flow. But we need actually, as per the requirement, we need full JSON nested JSON response to print that one. So that purpose WSO2 is giving one features that is called Aggregate Mediator. So this Aggregate Mediator it will store the data whatever we are getting from the payload. So that payload it will payload request, and what the response will store it as a one array format, as a one more payload mediator, and that response we will store as a array format, as a full response, and that response will print it as a log and we will pass as a respond mediator. So for achieve this one, let's start how to build that one. So those who are watching this video newly, kindly go through my channel So Beyond Doubt. Regularly I am uploading WS related videos, and in upcoming days also we are planning to upload more AI videos, so which will helpful for your future and in your corporate journey and in your project basis also. So let's start how to build that one. Let me go through Integration Studio. So as I did yesterday, let me explain you those who are watching directly this Aggregate Mediator. So first we need to use one Iterator Mediator. So this Iterator Mediator, let me go through Show Property View. So in Show Property, the previous video we only added iterate expression. We haven't added this iterated ID. So this video I'll show you I'm adding here name loop. Just one example, okay, you can give anything. So iterator expression I'm adding same as whatever I added yesterday. Just drop down and change to expression. So this expression I'm adding that X path. So from where I need to paste the data. So JSON -eval. So inside this one I need to paste the data message body. Okay, so inside message let's store the message value first. So now we need to do what? Save this one. So we added for iteration ID and added for iteration expression. So next what I need to do after fetching the message value. So what I mean here, this means iterator expression, I paste the value of the message. So after that what I need to do, I need to paste the value of the name, right? So what I need to do, let me go to Integration Studio again. So here I need to drag and drop on Payload Mediator. So this payload mediator, let me right click this one and go through show property view. So here what we need to do, we need to paste the value of the name. So here I modify this one to name here, JSON. So inside this payload, so we need to do what, we need to fetch the value of name, right? So I'm adding here name val. So after that I'm calling that particular, just passing one argument like $1. So this $1 value we will fetch it from the argument. Click plus icon. So this one, like this argument type and argument value. So this argument type, let me modify this one to expression. So we need to paste the JSON like value, right? So this evaluator, modify this one to JSON. If you click this one, it will pop up a new window. So this window, let me minimize. So let's understand this one, like this drop down this one to JSON. So here what we are trying to achieve here. So just example, if you go through requirement analysis, right? So here we are passing one message body. So here what we are trying to paste, we need to paste the name value, right? So this name value we are fetching what, this is inside message. So now we already set the X path. Is message, but we need to paste the value, right? So dollar means the full like the JSON which is inside the message. After that we need to paste the name. So if you go through integration studio, so I'm adding dollar, like the whatever value is available inside message, I just added here. So now I'm adding your name. So if I click OK and finish this one, so this name value it will fetch from the name. Let me close this one. So now what we need to do, let me add one log mediator. Let me drag and drop here. So this log mediator basically I'm using here for like storing the data, means whatever value we are getting from payload mediator, right? So that data we want to store in log mediator. So let me modify this one to full. So whatever data, like it will collect all the information and it will store in log mediator. So the earlier challenge was what, actually if you go through Postman, let me send request again. So if you see here, right, I'm getting only name, I'm not getting the full payload. So how we will achieve that one? So this like now the next step as per like our like overflow, right? If you see here, iteration mediator and payload mediator, this is done now. Now we need to call what? We need to call our aggregate mediator to store the data, means to fetch the data and to store the data in aggregate, and we will iterate the value in payload mediator and we will pass it as a respond mediator. So let's go through our integration studio. So here what we need to do, let me press A, so you will get the aggregate. Let me drag and drop here. Just make sure like while you are like building any API using aggregate mediator and iterate mediator, so iterator mediator and aggregate mediator both must be like aggregate mediator must be outside of iterate mediator, or else you will not get the response. So here I will tell you one thing, just right click this one and go through iterate mediator. So here just remember like this iteration ID, let me copy this one. So this ID must be sync with your aggregate mediator ID. So right click this one and go through show property view. So here you could see, right, one aggregate ID is there. So always remember like use your one, means the same, not one, the same as like Iterator Mediator ID. Then only this aggregate mediator value will sync with your Iterate Mediator. So now what we need to do, so here there is one aggregate expression is there and aggregate element type is there. So if you drop down this one, there is a root and child is there, so keep the same root only. And here above you can see there is one completion timeout. So if you want to increase your timeout, like if you want to retry the same flow again and again, then you can increase your timeout. And the computation minimum message type, so by default -1, just keep as it is. Let's see like what is the issue we are facing. Now aggregate expression is there. So here expression we want to do what, we need to store whatever like the full response we are getting from the previous mediator, means the iterator mediator, that we will storage at here. So here let's pass one expression here. I'm passing your object, passing your full JSON object. So we will pass it as a full payload in payload mediator. So let's click OK. So now like our aggregate mediator will do what, it will check iterator mediator value, means the same aggregate ID is matching with iterator ID or not. If both are matching, then it will fetch the data and it will check what is the value is available in iterate mediator. So it will store the full JSON response. So let me close this one. So now what we need to do, there is one more, like after getting this one we need to print the response to the customer, right? So let me add one more like payload mediator. So here let me right click and go through show property view. So here what we need to do, as per our like request, if you go through this one, right? So we are passing one JSON request and we are getting one response as a JSON response. So integration studio, let me modify this media type to JSON, and this payload. So this payload, like earlier, like we are getting one sample, like one request, right? So what we want to achieve here, we need to print the full, like what I'm trying to say here, like full response, whatever request payload we are passing, like there is one name I'm passing here, one array means one JSON, and one more JSON also I'm passing here, that is called nested JSON. Okay, so if you go through integration studio, so here I want to print the full like JSON as a array. So I added inside the array like one square bracket, I added $. So what value like I want to pass it here. So here just understand one thing. So let me click plus icon again. So here let me modify this one to expression. So it will ask you an evaluator. So keep same XML evaluator only. Go through expression again. 1 minute. Yeah. So here let me minimize. So here this XML, let me modify this one to expression. So this expression, the same condition whatever I used in aggregate mediator, same I am using here, JSON object. Enter this one and finish it. So now if you save this one, so whatever value we are getting from the iterator mediator and we are storing in aggregate mediator, the same like the full response we are passing in that payload mediator. So whatever data we are passing as a request, the same request data we are passing as a response. So let me close this one. So now our payload mediator is ready. So what we need to do, let me add one more log mediator and right click this one, go through show property view. So here let me modify this one to full. Okay, so just for your reference, let me save this one. So just example, like if you are not getting any data from the Iterator Mediator, how we will achieve that one. Right click this Iterator Mediator log, go through show property view. So here there is one property field is here. So let me add this one. So modify this property value to expression. So I am giving one like a keyword here. So response of iterator. Okay, so this expression, so what we need to do here, so I need to paste the full body, like whatever like response we are getting from the Iterator Mediator, I want to print the full body. So the expression is your $body and finish this one. So whatever value you will get it from the Iterator Mediator, that value it will store this log mediator. Okay, now what we did, this value we are storing as a aggregate mediator, we are printing the full log and we are printing the log here also. So now there is one limitation, like if you are adding respond mediator inside aggregate mediator, it will give you one warning. So it is showing what, respond mediator stop the processing of the current message and send the message back up to the client as a response. So respond mediator will not be considered. So aggregate mediator, it will not allow the respond mediator inside the loop. So what we need to do here, we need to drag and drop one respond mediator. So it whatever response you are getting from the aggregate mediator, it will store the value in respond mediator. So after completing this one, there is one more field I will explain you, like there is one challenge here. So if you right click this one and go through show property view, right? So here, as I mentioned in the previous video, like there is 3 type of option is there: sequence mediation, continue parents, piece of payload. So the problem is, if you are sending request, like the thing is, like if you are sending request, you will not get the response. This flow keep on like running this flow, it will until it will not run while you are not terminating the flow. So how you will like achieve that one? So right click this one, go to show property view. So here there is one option is here, continue parents. Okay, so if you select this one, it will consider Iterator Mediator as a parent. Okay, then it will consider as a aggregate mediator as a child. So whatever response you are getting from Iterator Mediator, it will fetch the value, it will store in aggregate mediator, and it will go through payload for the full response, and it will print the response here and we are terminating the flow and respond back the response to the customer. So this is the flow like we want to test now. So let's start to build one car file and deploy in our WSO2 EI to verify our code is working or not. So right click this one, go through, so export our project. So here I am giving aggregate API, click next here. So here expand this demo config, so uncheck this yesterday one. So we need to select that Aggregate Mediator API. So let me scroll down. So this is our API, okay, like Aggregate API. So let's finish this one. So it is showing what? Carbon archive file successfully created in the given destination. Click OK. So now let me go through our EI Carbon portal and let me refresh first. So make sure like your session is active. So if I scroll down, Carbon application, okay, let me add that particular car file to verify our source code is working or not. Choose file here. So here I am selecting the Aggregate API car file. Click open and upload that one. So it will take some second to reflect that particular API in our EI Carbon portal. So now 26, right? So let me refresh this one. So it is showing what? 27 running Carbon applications. Okay. So let me scroll down, go through APIs option. So we are using aggregate, right? So aggregate, let me click next. So this one, this is the API we want to test now to verify our source code is working or not. So let me copy this aggregate URL. This is an API invocation URL, okay. So let me go through Postman. This is our Iterator API, those who want to watch this Iterator API. It's a separate video already there. Kindly go through my channel. So this thumbnail you can see, right? WSO2 Iterator Mediator. Complete that one. At least you have understanding how to build a API using Iterator Mediator. So let's test this Aggregate Mediator. Let me open one new tab. So here let me modify to post. Okay, one thing I missed here. Let me go through UI again. So let me edit this one. Click OK. Click yes here. So here change to source view. So this one every time I am forgetting. So modify this one to post, because we are passing as a request payload, right? So we need to use post as a method. So scroll down and save this file. So this is one easiest approach, if you want to modify your source code and you can quickly test that one, then UI is the best option to verify in WSO2. So go through Postman here. So click body here. So raw data we need to modify this one to JSON. So as I mentioned, this is one sample request. Let me copy this one, go through Postman. Let me beautify this one, okay. If I send request, right, so now you can see I'm getting the full response. So earlier if I API doing what, if I go through Iterator and send request, I'm not getting the full response. So if I go through Iterator API and send request, I'm getting the response as a array format. So hope you guys are understand how you will use Iterator Mediator and Aggregate Mediator in your real-time activity in your project. And those who are watching this video newly, kindly go through my channel, at least see what all topics and technical videos I'm uploading regularly in this channel. Hope those who are watching this video newly, kindly like, share and subscribe my channel, so it will motivate me to make more videos. Thank you so much.